It says here inside the front cover that this is about his journey, accepting physical limitations, redefining success, and finding love. His story is a story of belief, of faith, and of hope, and finding all of it after nearly losing everything.
Press enter.
This is how he tells his story.
Start Google Chrome.
His eyes focused on a voice-activated computer. This is how he writes.
November 19, 2020.
That date matters.
Press enter.
Because sitting in an electric wheelchair, this is an important step.
I want to take action now.
His story.
Press enter.
Enters a kind of life he didn't want. A life literally flipped upside down. His life is an open book of pain, progress, with so much lost, but even more perspective found. Ryan Atkins may never walk again, but telling his story is his one step closer to healing.
By Ryan Atkins. My story isn't over. It's showed me how nothing's impossible.
A full scholarship student at UC, Ryan Atkins lived a full college life. The snapshot of a Bearcats superfan. He snapped pictures at UC football games in Oklahoma and the Orange Bowl. Inactive 21-year-old seemingly standing on top. Life knocked Ryan down.
Lost control of my vehicle and overcorrected. And all of a sudden, my vehicle's flipping off the side of the road. I can't move my arms, can't move my legs, not really realizing what had transpired.
Placed on a stretcher and airlifted to the hospital, Ryan's heart stopped for more than 100 seconds. Emergency surgery and multiple days in a coma. He cracked multiple vertebrae in his spine that would paralyze him below his shoulders.
I look down at my motionless arms and legs and think, hey, either my life now is completely meaningless or there's a much greater purpose to my life than I could have realized.
A confident smile that he would be the one to stand up to this nearly impossible challenge and once again stand on his own. Ryan needed help. Supported by a physical therapy team and members of the UC basketball team, he still felt a kind of flat on his back helplessness when he says something almost miraculous did happen.
It definitely just seems like God's been writing our story since the beginning.
Second graders who first connected as co-stars in a school play, these childhood Valentines lost contact when she started at a new school.
It's good.
But 13 years later, needing help with his constantly rehabbing body, Ryan unexpectedly reunited with his childhood friend.
I was still in massage school and I didn't really know what I was doing yet. Kind of pushed through the insecurity and I went to see him as soon as he got out of the hospital. For me, seeing the way that Ryan was processing through maybe one of the worst possible things that could happen, I think that just gave me a really authentic look at his true character.
A relationship that became an engagement. Exactly 7 years after his accident, Ryan and Stephanie made that date a new anniversary, their wedding day.
There's no story that is beyond redemption, and I believe that we can have hope no matter what our challenges may be. It's crucial to have a hope for the future.
Just telling his story is a challenge. Now 11 years since his accident, he wanted his voice on paper.
We can put our maximum effort into being a light for a world that is desperately in need of hope and a helping hand.
A survivor, a graduate, a husband, Ryan Atkins is now an author. But maybe the most impactful words ever written in his life are framed in his front hallway. Words his now wife wrote when they first met as second graders. A school assignment that wrote of miracles and how she liked the miracle of the paralyzed man the most. Ryan Atkins may never take another step, but hope is his step. Hope is his gift. It's how he feels, one step closer to everything he almost missed.
it took me a while to realize life isn't waiting for our ideal circumstances to come to fruition. And I want to take action now on what I believe is, I think, a blueprint for how we can learn to live with hope no matter the circumstances.
So Ryan's name, you can see it right here and also right behind me. His name is on the front cover, but they did this together. Ryan wrote it with his voice-activated computer, and Stephanie did the editing. Now, there is meaning in the cover picture here on the book. You can see the little plant growing out of the shoe print. It's to be said that growth can come anywhere. Unexpected places you can find life and you can find growth. You can find it in their story as well. Now, the book just released this week. I didn't realize until tonight when I was flipping through it that he left me a personal message inside. You know, he's a Bearcats super fan. He said, make sure you keep covering the Bearcats.
A true fan to the end, right?
I love
that.
That.
I love that.
So that's the personal touch, and that's who he is. And anybody who can write their own story like that and the way they did it, they said it took hundreds of hours of voice-activated computer and her editing, then add a nice personal touch as well, I think is outstanding.
Well, and you know what? This is the thing, right? When something like that happens to you, it's really easy to shrink into the darkness, right? And he's doing the exact opposite. He's like illuminating the subject.
And the hard part for him was starting to share the story at first, and he found it in a blog. This went back 8-9 years ago. He started blogging about it and felt comfortable sharing his story and finding a community of people who were going through the same thing he was. And when you share your story, it kind of thought, I want to share this with more people, maybe even people who aren't going through this, but just need some inspiration and some hope. And that's why they wrote the book.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Joe, that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that's a true love story, but it reminds me of Charles Krafthammer, who it took a tremendous injury for him, and he kept going. He had that humongous bump in the road as well, but it really showed true characters, just as she was saying.
And isn't it incredible, too, that they knew each other as second graders?
I know.
They're Valentines.
Yeah.
They become separated. They both went to UC at the same time and didn't really know each other, didn't really cross paths. It took the injury for them to come together, and now they've created a book for everyone to enjoy. It's available now.